We all love food. Food is comforting. Food is delicious. And sometimes, food is trying to assassinate you. That's right. Some of the most harmless things in your fridge are secretly plotting your downfall. They may look innocent, but under the right conditions, they're deadlier than a villain's poison cocktail. Forget sharks, snakes, or serial killers. The real danger might be sitting in your lunchbox. Today, we're diving fork first into harmless foods that can kill you if eaten wrong. We're talking death by hot dog, killer candy, and fruit that commits tax fraud on your liver. Because in nature's cookbook, the difference between yum and you're done can be one wrong bite. So, grab your snacks, preferably the non-lethal kind, and let's see which foods are secretly out to get you. Number 1. Hot dogs, the perfect choking machine. Ah yes, the humble hot dog, America's favorite cylinder of mystery meat. It's the hero of baseball games, barbecues, and childhood birthday parties. But here's the thing. This adorable sausage of joy is also one of the most efficient choking hazards ever invented by humans. Let's be honest. The hot dog looks suspiciously like it was designed by Darwin himself as a survival test for humanity. You see, hot dogs have the exact shape and texture to perfectly clog a human throat. They're smooth, soft, and round, which sounds cute until it blocks your entire windpipe like a cork in a bottle. The deadly geometry. Doctors have an unofficial nickname for this, the plug effect. That's right, not a cool rock band, but the medical term for when something seals your airway so tight that no air can pass through. Hot dogs fit that description perfectly. They're about the same diameter as a child's windpipe, which makes them public enemy number 1 for toddlers. And let's be honest, for adults who eat like toddlers. The American Academy of Pediatrics literally lists hot dogs as the number 1 cause of food-related choking deaths in kids under 3. That's right, not grapes, not candy, not Piats. Hot dogs are the king of culinary chaos. The risky bite. The issue isn't in the hot dog itself, it's in the way we eat it. You see, most people take one big bite and swallow like they're entering an eating contest. And when you don't chew properly, you're basically launching a meat torpedo directly into your airway. Even worse, parents often cut them into perfect little circular pieces, which just makes them smaller bullets of doom for kids. You couldn't design a better choking hazard if you tried. The medical stats. According to the CDC, about 17,000 people every year go to the ER for choking on food, and hot dogs are the top culprit for children. Even adults aren't safe, because apparently when you combine beer, overconfidence, and a grilled Frank, your coordination just resigns. Every 4th of July, hospitals actually prepare for a mini hot dog-induced apocalypse. It's America's most patriotic near-death experience. The physics of panic. Here's what happens. When you accidentally inhale a chunk of hot dog, your body immediately freaks out. Your throat closes, your brain screams red alert, and your lungs decide to stop cooperating. You can't breathe, talk, or even cough effectively. At that point, your only hope is someone nearby knowing the Heimlich maneuver, or being strong enough to shake you like a vending machine until it dislodges. How to survive the sausage. The good news? You can enjoy your hot dogs without becoming a cautionary tale. Here's how to eat smart and stay alive. Slice, don't dice. Cut them lengthways for kids. Turn that deadly cylinder into something less aerodynamic. Chew like a human. Don't inhale your food. Take your time, even if your friends are racing to seconds. Stay sober-ish.
Maybe save your 5 hot dogs for after the beer, not during. Know the Heimlich. Seriously, it saves lives. One squeeze could be the difference between dinner and obituary. The ironic twist. You know what makes this even funnier and darker? The hot dog is such a choking hazard that some pediatrics have suggested warning labels, like cigarette packs. Imagine a package of hot dogs with the label saying, "Warning, may cause patriotic suffocation." And we'd still buy them because, well, they're delicious. Even more ironic, competitive eaters literally make a living by defying this danger, inhaling dozens of hot dogs in minutes. It's like taunting Darwin in HD. Fun and terrifying fact. When hot dogs were first mass-produced, manufacturers bragged about how smooth and uniform they were, the perfect bite size, they said. Little did they know, they just created the most dangerous snack geometry since hard candy. Now, it's not just about choking. If you undercook your hot dog, you're also playing bacterial roulette. Listeria and Salmonella love those little sausages. So yes, the humble hot dog has 2 kill modes. Mode 1, instant chokeout. Mode 2, slow bacterial betrayal. Choose your fighter. The real lesson. Hot dogs aren't evil, they're just misunderstood. They were built for joy, not destruction, and yet they continue to claim victims every year because humans refuse to chew. So next time you're at a barbecue and you see someone trying to fit an entire hot dog in one bite, just remember, evolution is watching, and it's keeping score. The next time someone asks how you like your hot dog, the correct answer is chewed thoroughly and responsibly. Because as harmless as it looks, this smiling little sausage has already taken more lives than kale ever will.
Number 2. Cassava, the root that fights back. Cassava, the innocent-looking root vegetable that feeds half the planet and could also, poison you with cyanide. Yep, the same plant that makes your favorite tapioca pudding or bubble tea pearls has a hidden dark side worthy of a true crime documentary. If vegetables had mugshots, cassava would be staring into the camera like, "Yeah, I did it, and I'd do it again." Nature's little chemistry set. So here's the deal. Cassava, also known as yucca or manioc, is a root native to South America, and it's a major source of carbs in tropical countries. Sounds harmless, right? Until you realize that raw cassava contains naturally occurring cyanogenic glycosides, fancy talk for tiny chemical grenades that release cyanide gas when digested. That's right. Eat cassava the wrong way, and your body basically turns into a low-budget chemistry lab with fatal results. Meet hydrogen cyanide, nature's nope gas. Hydrogen cyanide, the same compound used in certain pesticides and some dark chapters of history, is released when you chew or improperly cook cassava. In small doses, it causes dizziness, nausea, and confusion. In large doses, it causes, your obituary. And the wild part is, cassava wants to be like this. It evolved this toxin as self-defense to stop animals, and apparently humans who can't follow cooking instructions, from eating it raw. Mother Nature was like, "Fine, you can have your carbs, but you'll have to work for it." The sweet versus bitter cassava trap. There are 2 main types of cassava. Sweet cassava, lower in cyanide, safer after cooking. Bitter cassava, basically the vegetable version of a landmine. The difference? Bitter cassava can have 50 times more cyanide than the sweet kind. That's not a flavor difference, that's a life expectancy difference. And get this, in some parts of Africa and Asia, bitter cassava is still a staple because it grows better in poor soil. So people have learned complex prep rituals to detoxify it. We're talking soaking, fermenting, boiling, drying, basically performing an exorcism on a potato. Cooking.
The life-saving art form. Here's how to keep cassava from killing you. Peel it completely. The toxins hang out on the skin. Soak it for 24 to 48 hours to leach out the bad stuff. Boil, fry, or bake it thoroughly until you've nuked every molecule of cyanide into oblivion. If you skip a step, congratulations, you've just made DIY poison pudding. And yes, there are recorded cases of entire families being hospitalized for cooking cassava wrong. One infamous case in 2017 saw a group of kids in Venezuela die after eating improperly prepared cassava chips sold by a street vendor. So next time you grab boba tea, maybe thank modern food safety laws. Cassava in disguise. Here's the twist. Cassava is everywhere, and most people have no idea. It hides under different names. Tapioca pearls in your bubble tea, gari in West Africa, farinha in Brazil, cassava chips in tropical snack aisles. It's so common that people forget how deadly it can be if you don't respect the process. Imagine explaining that your last words were, "Don't worry, it's just pudding." Why we still eat it? So why risk it? Because cassava is basically the overachiever of the plant world. It's drought-resistant, grows in awful soil, and produces massive amounts of starch. In many developing countries, it's a lifesaver crop, the backbone of millions of diets. So people learned how to live with it. They treat cassava like that one friend who's fun to hang out with, but you never, ever leave your drink unattended around them. Fun fact, there's a disease named after cassava. Ever heard of Konzo? It's a neurological disorder caused by chronic cyanide exposure from eating underprocessed cassava. Symptoms are paralysis of the legs, muscle stiffness, and lifelong disability. That's not just bad food safety, that's a literal dietary horror story. And yet, people still eat it daily because when prepared correctly, it's totally fine. That's what makes it so wild. Cassava sits perfectly between dinner and death wish. Tea, bubble tea, betrayal. Now let's talk about you, the modern consumer. You might be thinking, I don't eat roots from the jungle, I just drink boba. Well, surprise. Those chewy tapioca pearls at the bottom of your favorite drink? Yep, made from cassava starch. Don't worry, they've been processed and cooked within an inch of their lives, but still, imagine explaining to your ancestors that you almost got cyanide poisoning from a cup of Instagram aesthetic tea. Cassava's PR problem. Cassava doesn't want to hurt you. It's not evil, it's just naturally dramatic. It's the diva of the vegetable world. Like, cook me properly or I'll kill your vibe and maybe you. Humans just need to understand the recipe. Because when done right, cassava is totally safe and even delicious. When done wrong, it's a chemistry experiment that ends with a funeral slideshow. The lesson: respect the root. So yeah, the next time you eat tapioca pudding, remember, it came from a plant that literally had to be detoxified like it came out of rehab. Cassava isn't just food. It's a reminder that nature is a genius, but also kind of a troll. It's like Mother Nature said, you want carbs? Fine, but let's make it interesting. So respect your food, cook it right, and maybe don't trust anything that can double as a biological weapon. If your dinner comes with an instruction manual that includes may contain cyanide, maybe take that seriously. Because the most dangerous meals aren't always the ones labeled spicy.
Number 3. Nutmeg. The spice that gets you high, then hospitalized. Ah, nutmeg. The cozy spice of autumn. You know it, you love it. It's the star of pumpkin pie, the secret to grandma's cookies, and the reason your coffee suddenly tastes like Christmas. But what if I told you that nutmeg also doubles as a hallucinogenic neurotoxin that could send you on a one-way trip to the ER? Or, outer space? Yep. The same stuff you sprinkle on your latte could also make you trip harder than a 1960s rock concert. Nutmeg. The only spice that can turn holiday baking into
accidental near-death experience. The secret ingredient, myristicin. So here's the chemistry bit. Nutmeg contains a compound called myristicin. It's an organic chemical that, in small doses, adds flavor and aroma. In large doses, it messes with your brain like a rejected pharmaceutical. Myristicin affects your nervous system, altering neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. That's science speak for you're about to get very dizzy and maybe see colors that don't exist. The nutmeg high, aka the worst idea ever. Some genius on the internet once discovered that if you eat several tablespoons of nutmeg, you can get high. What they didn't mention is that the high comes with a side order of nausea, paranoia, dry mouth, and regret. People who've tried it describe it as like being drunk, high, and food poisoned all at once. Oh, and it takes 6 hours to kick in. So most people think it's not working, and then they eat more, which is how you go from baking cookies to summoning demons on your kitchen floor. The lethal dose. A single teaspoon of nutmeg in your pie, delicious. 2 tablespoons in your smoothie, congratulations, you've just signed up for an involuntary vision quest. About 10 grams, or roughly 2 whole nutmegs, is enough to make you sick. 20 to 30 grams can be lethal. In nutmeg overdose cases, people have ended up with heart palpitations, hallucinations, seizures, and even organ failure. In fact, hospitals have recorded multiple nutmeg poisoning cases, usually teens trying legal highs because TikTok said it was natural. Fun fact, cyanide is also natural. So is lava. The history of the spice that killed for profit. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. Back in the 1600s, nutmeg was so valuable, it caused wars. The Dutch and the British literally fought over a few islands that grew nutmeg trees, the Banda Islands in Indonesia. At one point, the Dutch traded an entire island, Manhattan, just to get full control of nutmeg. Imagine swapping New York City for a spice that can make you hallucinate. Honestly, fair trade. But during those times, nutmeg was worth more than gold, and people would kill, smuggle, and lie for it. Now, we use it to decorate eggnog. What a downgrade. The science of the nutmeg trip. Here's what happens when you eat too much nutmeg. First, you feel nothing. Deceptive calm. Then, your stomach starts plotting against you. Then, your brain starts sending interesting messages. Finally, you realize you've made a terrible mistake. Physically, you'll feel dry mouth, dizziness, rapid heartbeat, and sometimes hallucinations. Mentally, you'll feel like you're starring in a low-budget fever dream. Oh, and the fun part? It can last up to 48 hours. That's right, 2 full days of tripping over a spice you probably bought at Walmart. When spice up your life goes too far. In the early 2000s, nutmeg challenges were all over the internet. Teenagers would film themselves swallowing spoonfuls of it, thinking it was the next viral trend. Minutes later, they were regretting life choices and possibly meeting paramedics. Doctors now call it nutmeg intoxication, a real medically recognized condition. Symptoms include vomiting, confusion, rapid heartbeat, delirium, existential dread, probably. The irony of it all. What's wild is that nutmeg's toxic compound myristicin is chemically related to MDMA and amphetamines. So technically, yes, your grandma's Christmas cookies share molecular cousins with rave drugs. And she's been handing them out to children. Think about that next time you're at a holiday dinner. Nutmeg is the double agent of the spice rack. Nutmeg doesn't look dangerous. It's brown, round, smells like heaven, the last thing you'd suspect in a murder mystery. It's like the spice version of a friendly neighbor who secretly has a basement full of secrets.
You trust it completely until you learn it's capable of chemical warfare. How to stay alive and festive. Here's the safe way to enjoy nutmeg. Stick to small amounts, a pinch, not a spoonful. Remember, it's a spice, not a supplement. Use it in moderation and it'll make your food smell like a Hallmark movie. Overdo it and you'll be starring in Breaking Bad Dessert Edition. Fun fact before you panic. It's not just nutmeg. Other spices like mace, nutmeg's sibling, cinnamon, and even star anise have trace amounts of similar compounds. The difference? Nutmeg decided to crank it up to 11. It's the overachiever of the spice world, the one that took intense flavor way too literally. The real lesson? Don't try to get high from your kitchen. Humans have a long history of looking at random stuff in their pantry and saying, I wonder what happens if I eat a lot of this. Well, what happens is you end up on a list of medical case studies with a headline like, Local man hospitalized after trying to hallucinate with pie spice. So don't do it. Keep nutmeg where it belongs, in desserts, not in your bloodstream. Nutmeg is proof that not everything natural is safe, and not everything that smells nice should be inhaled by the tablespoon. Because there's a fine line between pumpkin spice latte and pumpkin spice coma.
Number 4. Kidney beans, the dinner party assassin. You know what's great? Chili. You know what's not so great? Violently throwing up chili because you undercooked the beans. That's right, the humble kidney bean, that wholesome, protein-packed legume of health influencers in salad bowls, can absolutely wreck you if you don't cook it right. It's like nature said, sure, you can have plant-based protein, but first, prove you deserve it. Meet the killer chemical, phytohemagglutinin. Kidney beans contain something called phytohemagglutinin, a toxin so strong it can make you sick with just a handful of raw or undercooked beans. That name sounds like something an evil scientist yells right before lightning strikes, but it's very real, and it's found naturally in red kidney beans, more concentrated than in any other kind of bean. The toxin messes with your cells by clumping up your red blood cells, which, spoiler alert, your body is not a fan of. The result? Instant regret in the form of nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps, and diarrhea, all within 1 to 3 hours of eating them. It's fast, it's furious, and it's the least fun cleansing you'll ever experience. How to accidentally ruin dinner. Here's how it usually happens. Someone's meal prepping chili, feeling all healthy and domestic. They toss dried beans into a slow cooker, set it to low, and walk away. Congratulations, you've just made a slow cooker of biological warfare. See, the toxin in raw kidney beans only breaks down at boiling temperatures, 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Slow cookers often don't get that hot, meaning instead of killing the toxin, you're activating it. It's like giving the beans a motivational seminar on how to destroy you. The symptoms of being betrayal. People who've eaten undercooked kidney beans usually describe the experience like this. I thought I was dying. You start feeling queasy within an hour, then the full-body rebellion begins. Your stomach cramps like you've been cursed, you lose all trust in your intestines, and you start regretting every life choice that led you to this moment. The good news is, it's rarely fatal. The bad news is, it feels like it's trying to be. Even just 4 or 5 undercooked beans can trigger symptoms. That's not a serving, that's a crime scene. The science of cooking to not die. Here's the safe way to handle kidney beans without summoning internal chaos. Soak dried beans for at least 5 hours. Overnight is better. Boil them hard for at least 10 minutes. That's the magic number where the toxin breaks down. Then simmer normally to finish cooking. That's it.
3 steps that separate a healthy meal from a night spent questioning your existence. Fun and terrifying bean facts. Red kidney beans have 20,000 to 70,000 toxin units before cooking. Boiling reduces that number to almost 0. Cooking at too low a temp, like 80 degrees Celsius or 176 degrees Fahrenheit, actually increases toxicity 5-fold. So yeah, beans literally get more deadly if you half-cook them. That's nature's way of saying do it right or don't do it at all. The dinner party disaster. Imagine hosting a fancy dinner. You serve your homemade chili, everyone compliments the flavor. 10 minutes later, your guests start turning green and running for the bathroom. You standing there with a ladle like, was it the seasoning? No, Karen, it was the beans. The lesson: never half-cook a bean. Kidney beans are proof that even the healthiest foods can have a dark side. It's not enough to mostly cook them, you have to annihilate them. So next time someone says, I'm making healthy homemade chili, make sure they actually boiled the beans, because nothing ruins Taco Tuesday faster than a trip to the ER. Cook your beans, respect the boil, because these innocent-looking legumes are just one undercooked meal away from starting a gastrointestinal revolution. Number 5. Rhubarb, the dessert plant with a death wish. Rhubarb. The plant that somehow decided to look like celery, taste like sour candy, and come with a built-in self-destruct button. If you've ever had rhubarb pie, you know it's delicious. Sweet, tangy, comforting. The kind of dessert that makes you feel like you're living in a peaceful countryside movie. What you don't know is that just inches away from that harmless pink stalk lies something so toxic it could actually kill you. That's right. Rhubarb is the world's most passive-aggressive plant. It gives you dessert with one hand and potential organ failure with the other. The villain: oxalic acid. The dangerous part of rhubarb is its leaves, which are packed with something called oxalic acid, a natural chemical that's about as friendly to your kidneys as a baseball bat. In small doses, oxalic acid gives rhubarb that nice tangy flavor. In large doses, it can cause burning in the mouth and throat, stomach pain, breathing problems, and eventually kidney failure. Yep, one bite too many, and suddenly your body's like, hey, remember your kidneys? Yeah, they quit. The leafy death trap. The stalk, totally fine. That's the part everyone eats. The leaves, however, are basically nature's prank. They look lush, green, and harmless, but even a small serving can mess you up. It's like rhubarb saw spinach and said, what if I did that, but evil? A typical adult would have to eat around 10 pounds of rhubarb leaves to die, but much smaller amounts can still make you violently ill. And pets? Yeah, your cat or dog could get poisoned by just nibbling one leaf. So, if you've got rhubarb in the garden, congratulations, you're technically growing decorative biohazard. How people found out. The hard way. During World War I, when food was scarce, the British government actually told people to eat rhubarb leaves as a vegetable substitute. It didn't end well. People started showing up in hospitals with intense pain, vomiting, and kidney damage. The government quickly retracted that advice, which, to be fair, should have come before the poisoning part. The science of how it wrecks you. Oxalic acid binds with calcium in your body to form calcium oxalate crystals, the same stuff kidney stones are made of. So basically, it's like your internal organs are building a rock collection without your consent. Those crystals clog up your kidneys, stop filtration, and before you know it, your body's screaming for mercy. And here's the kicker. Oxalic acid isn't only in rhubarb. It's also in spinach, beets, and Swiss chard, just in smaller amounts. But rhubarb decided to go big or go home. How to eat rhubarb without dying. Good news, you can safely enjoy rhubarb if you stick to the stalks only. Just follow these simple steps. Chop off the leaves completely, no green bits, no chances. Cook the stalks. Baking, boiling, or stewing helps neutralize trace acids. Add sugar, not for safety, but because raw rhubarb tastes like sour punishment. Done right, rhubarb makes pies, jams, and crumbles that taste like spring itself. The happy kind, not the poison your kidneys kind. Fun fact, even the stalks have limits. Rhubarb stalks themselves aren't totally innocent. They still contain a little oxalic acid. But you'd have to eat over 10 cups of raw rhubarb in one sitting to risk poisoning. So, unless you're in a competitive pie-eating contest from hell, you're safe. Rhubarb's secret double life. Here's the twist. While its leaves can harm you, the stalks are also used in medicine. Rhubarb root extracts have been used for centuries in traditional Chinese remedies as a laxative and detoxifier. So yes, the same plant that can poison your kidneys can also help clean out your colon. It's like the plant can't decide if it's a healer or a hitman. Rhubarb, the confusing cousin of the garden. Rhubarb is technically a vegetable, by the way, not a fruit. But since humans can't handle that kind of cognitive dissonance, we just started baking it into pies and pretending it's a fruit. It's the same way we deal with our emotions. Just add sugar and ignore the danger. And you know what? It worked. Rhubarb desserts became iconic. Every bite tastes like comfort, love, and mild toxic risk, which coincidentally also describes most relationships. Why nature made it this way? So why would a plant make its leaves deadly? Because it's a defense mechanism. Plants can't run away from predators, so they evolve chemical deterrents. The rhubarb plant basically went, if anyone eats me, they'll think twice next time. It's nature's version of a do not disturb sign, except it kills you if you ignore it. The irony, the most deadly part looks the healthiest. The poisonous leaves look vibrant, lush, and packed with nutrients, while the safe part looks like red celery that's been emotionally damaged. It's like the plant world's version of a scam. The dangerous part looks healthy, and the healthy part looks suspicious. Sound familiar? Yeah, kind of like half of the wellness trends online. The lesson: don't trust pretty leaves. So, here's your survival guide. Eat the stalks, avoid the leaves, and don't take dietary advice from people in wartime pamphlets. Because if history taught us anything, it's that the deadliest things often look the most harmless. And in the case of rhubarb, the prettiest part of the plant literally wants you gone. Rhubarb is the perfect metaphor for life. Sweet, sour, and slightly trying to kill you. So bake it, sugar it, enjoy it. Just remember, don't eat the leaves. Unless, of course, you really hate your kidneys.
Thanks for watching Cool Dude Explains, where comedy meets curiosity. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your favorite myth or question in the comments. Stay curious, stay cool, and I'll see you in the next video.